You know that split-second moment when someone steps on your foot, cuts you off in line, or knocks your coffee off the table. And before your brain even processes what happened, the word sorry is already out of your mouth. Yeah, that one. It is not random, and it is definitely not because you are too nice. For years, people have told you to just stop, grow a spine, stop being a doormat. But what if the real problem is not that you apologize too much, but that your nervous system has been running an old survival program you never agreed to install? Today, we are going to look at the actual psychologies behind chronic apologizing, not the surface-level advice you have heard 1,000 times. We are talking about the hidden mechanisms that make sorry fire automatically, even when you did nothing wrong. And once you see how this works, you might never hear your own apology the same way again. Let's start with something that will probably feel uncomfortably familiar. There is a study from the University of Waterloo by researchers Karina Schumann and Michael Ross. They found that people who apologize excessively do not actually make more mistakes than anyone else. What they have is a dramatically lower threshold for what counts as an offense. Think about it like this. Most people's internal alarm only goes off when there is real smoke, yours. It goes off when you are just boiling water. You ask a colleague a simple question and immediately feel the urge to apologize for bothering them. You walk into a room and sense you are taking up too much space. Someone looks at you for half a second too long, and your brain whispers, "Fix it, say sorry." You are not over-apologizing because you are broken. You are over-apologizing because your brain has been trained to treat normal existence as a potential threat. So where did this hypersensitive alarm come from? It usually starts long before you had any say in the matter. Therapist Pete Walker, in his book on complex trauma, talks about something called the Fawn response. We all know fight, flight, and freeze. Fawn is the fourth one, and it is the one nobody teaches you in school. Fawning means your nervous system decides the safest move is not to push back or run away. It is to become so agreeable, so small, so helpful, that the threat simply has no reason to come after you. If you grew up in an environment where conflict felt dangerous, where one wrong tone could set someone off, where love felt conditional, where keeping the peace was your job as a child, then apologizing became your default safety switch. You learned to say it first, fast, and automatically, not because you were polite, because it worked. It kept you from getting hurt. Over time, that switch stops being a choice. It becomes a reflex. Every interaction starts to feel like a toll booth. You roll down the window and pay with sorry before anyone even asks you to. But here is where it gets even deeper and stranger. This is not just something you learned in childhood. It is wired into us as humans. Two psychiatrists, Chris Cantor and John Price, described what they called the appeasement response. When an animal cannot win a fight and cannot escape, it still has one move left. Signal as clearly as possible, "I am not a threat. Please do not hurt me." You have seen dogs do it. Belly up, tail tucked, making themselves as non-threatening as possible. Humans have our own version. Under polyvagal theory, developed by Stephen Porges, when your body detects it cannot fight or flee, it shifts into a state that prioritizes connection and submission instead. That sudden sorry when someone bumps into you, that is your ancient nervous system doing the human equivalent of rolling over and showing its belly. It is saying, "I am safe. I am small. Please do not come at me." And the wild part is, you have probably been shaming yourself for this reflex for years, calling yourself weak, telling yourself to just stop. But that reflex is not weakness. It is one of the oldest survival strategies your body owns. It kept you safe when you needed it most. Now, before we go any further, I want to be honest with you about something that does not get talked about enough. There is a real downside to this reflex, and it is quiet, slow, and expensive. Every time you apologize for simply existing, your sorry starts to lose its meaning. It becomes a kind of emotional currency. And just like real money, when you print too much of it, inflation happens. People stop hearing it as a genuine apology and start treating it like background noise. So when you actually do need to say sorry, when you really mess up and mean it, the words do not land the way they should. They have already been worn thin. But there is a quieter cost, one that happens inside you. Every reflexive apology is like sending a small message to yourself. I was in the wrong again. And if you send that message enough times, you start to believe it. You begin to see yourself as someone who is slightly inconvenient just by being around. You apologize yourself into the background of your own life. You shrink to fit rooms that were never too small for you in the first place. This is why some people feel strangely guilty, even when no one is upset with them. Their nervous system has been trained to treat their own presence as something that needs constant correction. So what do we do with this? The goal is not to stop apologizing completely. A real apology is still one of the most powerful things you can offer another person. Owning a genuine mistake and saying, "That one was on me," takes real strength. We do not want to lose that. What we need is to learn how to tell the difference between two very different things that happen to use the same word. There is accountability when you actually did something wrong and you are choosing to make it right. And then there is reflexive self-erasure, when you apologize for having needs, for taking up space, for asking a normal question, or for the simple fact that you are standing in the same room as someone else, same word. Completely different engine underneath. So the next time you feel that sorry rising up automatically, try asking yourself one quiet question. Whose comfort am I protecting right now? Did I actually do something harmful? Or am I just trying to make myself smaller so no one feels even slightly bothered by my existence? You will be surprised how often the honest answer is the second one. Let's go back to the beginning for a second. Someone bumps into you, steps on your foot, and you feel that old reflex loading up in your throat like it always does. Here is what I want you to know in that exact moment. That reflex is not a flaw. It is an old security system your younger self installed a long time ago. And for a while, it did its job. It kept you safe in environments where being small felt necessary. You do not have to shame it. You do not have to hate it for showing up. You can simply let it know that the building is safer now. And then you can choose a different response. Instead of sorry, you might say excuse me, or thanks for waiting, or sometimes. And this one takes practice. You might say nothing at all. Because the truth is, you were never too much. You just learned a little too early and a little too well how to take up a little too little. And you are allowed to unlearn that. One unsaid sorry at a time. If this video hit something for you, I would really appreciate it if you left a comment about which part resonated most. It helps more than you think. And if you want to see more deep dives like this, consider subscribing. I will see you in the next one.